Hey, this is Chad with BeGoneForGood. Today, we're gonna run through just what happened to this channel in 2021. Now, this isn't an excuse. I don't really have any excuses for it, but at least I'm gonna get you an explanation. In a year where Ryan F9 was super productive and Amanda Zitto with As the Magpie Flies and Tim Collins with 40 Times Around. Everybody was producing great content. Itchy Boots traveled through 700 different countries. Everybody was super productive. Somehow, I completely fell off the table. And not that I belong anywhere near in the same category as those folks, but they're the ones I look up to. They're the ones I try to model this channel after a little bit. So what happened? Well, first off, let me talk about some of the things that went right. I didn't realize this until I was looking through the analytics at the tail end of the year, but even with lowered productivity, lowered production, just kind of disappearing for about 6 months, this channel still got more than 400,000 views over the course of this year, picked up more than 3,000 subscribers, did more than 1.8 million minutes of watch time, which still, I cannot fathom that. That's all kind of a testament to you guys out there that are watching. I appreciate that. That's awesome. That's something I couldn't have even imagined a few years ago when I was kind of getting this channel up and off the ground. It's incredible. Now for the good that we've done also, I know that some of you are aware we built a Kiva site. Kiva does small microloans for individuals in far off countries to try and kind of help them to prosper in their own businesses. You know, it's legitimately business loans, but just tiny ones. We have donated about $825 to different loans in 15 countries. It's just a massive amount of help that we have done just by watching this channel. And I, again, want to thank you for that because that feels really good to kind of see that in action. Now for where we ended up in reality. It wasn't for lack of ideas. I have a ton of ideas. There's just a smattering of them right here. This is some of the stuff that I've thought about shooting, just never did it. It's also not because I don't already have footage shot, ready to go. All I have to do is edit. Some of it's already edited, just has to be put out. There's tons of that as well. I don't know. Ultimately, what I've sort of figured out is that it all sort of hinged or changed when the realization dawned on me that we weren't gonna be able to get our trip this year. If you've been following the channel, you know that we were planning on doing the Bourbon Run. We were gonna ride out to Tennessee, Kentucky area and hit distilleries and do some camping and do some cooking on the bikes and just kind of motor our way around that section of the country and find things that were interesting and shoot it as best we could and kind of talk to you guys about it. And we had a bunch of meetups planned for dinners and drinks and ride-alongs and, you know, just hangouts, all that sort of stuff. And it all disappeared. And it disappeared because of a sort of a confluence of different events. There was jobs that got in the way, there were timelines that got in the way, there was family stuff that got in the way, and ultimately time just kind of just blew past us. And by the time that we were looking at, you know, weather and the possibility of travel and the other commitments that we had, it just didn't really happen. And I will tell you that a lot of this channel is centered around the idea of getting out there and traveling, getting out there and doing the camping and just being on the bike at some point. And all of that kind of disappeared because that trip went away. And I still had a chance to do some really awesome stuff. I still had a chance to go to Overland Expo. I still have a chance to ride fairly regularly and just kind of commuting stuff. So I'm still on the bike. I'm still feeling it out and what's going on. And there's still a ton of stuff being planned for the next couple of years. But because that trip didn't happen, because this year's trip didn't happen, it all kind of felt like a waste. It felt like we really didn't have any grounds to be producing new videos. And for that, I apologize. That's entirely in my head. You guys apparently are interested in watching other things because I've shot a lot of other things. You're interested in finding out more about the bikes and the planning that we do and things that aren't necessarily just trip based. And I let you down on that front. So getting away from the failures of 21, I'd like to step into what's probably going to go right, commitments that I'm going to make, plans that we're kind of trying out for 22 and even beyond. First off, this is our last video of 21. So 21 is in the bag, in the can, we're done with it, it's behind us. We're not talking about it, thinking about it any further. Wasn't a bad year, just wasn't a great year. 22, on the other hand, has got some potential. So, first off, the BDR community is going to be producing its first video in about 2 years, its first route in about 2 years. Their last one was the Northeast. This year it's going to be Wyoming, or in 22 it's going to be Wyoming. Now, I had the opportunity to sponsor just a tiny bit of this one. Hopefully in the film you'll see BeGoneForGood as listed as one of the credits. I'm super psyched about that. We're also talking about the potential of doing Wyoming's BDR for this year's trip, 22's trip. And I have some worries about that. That's a no mess, like real BDR, and I don't know if I'm up to it. The last one that we did like that, which was Utah, I'm fairly certain I almost died. So I don't know that I want to take on Wyoming yet. We also talked about the potential of doing Colorado. We'll have to see what Wyoming looks like, what Colorado looks like, what our schedules look like, what the weather is going to have to look like, because I'm guessing that's going to be like a late July, August type of trip, if anything, in order to do either one of those, just because of the elevations and the snow and all of that. So we'll see. If not those two, we had talked about the potential of going back to the Mid-Atlantic and doing the Mid-Atlantic, bringing Joe along because he didn't get the chance to do it last time, and also trying to dip up into the Northeast a little bit. Basically kind of committing to do the Mid-Atlantic a little bit better. We got thrown off our game when Kevin crashed, and so we kind of did it sort of a little halfway, but we would dig in a little bit further. And then try and dip into the Northeast as well. The other trip that's out there that has a potential, but it's pretty unlikely that it's gonna happen. But if it does, whoa, I'm super excited about it. I had a buddy of mine that moved from North Carolina to Seattle, and he left his crotch rocket here. He left his, it's like a Honda Nighthawk or Super Hawk or something or other. I don't know what it is because I don't particularly care for those type of bikes. But he's interested in maybe getting that bike out to Seattle, and I have thought about riding it there and doing it as like an adventure style film on a crotch rocket, on something that I'm not comfortable on something that I don't want to ride, on something that is probably really uncomfortable to ride, just for the sake of saying that I got it done. You know, like not too dissimilar from those guys that ride Groms around the world, or, you know, scooters through South America. You know, like just let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. See if I can take this bike along that distance, and how do things work out as we do it. So that's a potential trip, not necessarily a likely trip, but I'm looking forward to seeing if I can make that one happen, because I really want to make that trip, as crazy as that sounds. I'd love to be in the Rockies on that bike and knowing that I got it that entire way. That seems awesome. Hopefully there will be training involved next year. There will be some other things we're doing. I've got a ton of videos that need to come out. I've got a ton of items that have been sent to me to review for you. I've got a ton of items that I've bought myself that I'll be using, that I want to talk to you about because I'm super happy about it, or think maybe you should avoid it. All sorts of stuff like that should be coming in 2022, will be coming in 2022. I can't say exactly what my schedule is going to look like, how soon we're going to be releasing all this stuff, but just know, I recognize the channel stumbled a little bit at the tail end of last year. I am hoping to fix it, looking to fix it, looking to be a little bit better for you guys out there. If you have any questions, comments, anything you specifically want to see or know, definitely leave that down below. If you like this sort of thing, and maybe not this sort of thing, but adventure bike type of stuff, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video, which will be a lot more in 22 than in 21. And always remember, the adventure starts with you, up here and in here. This is Chad with BeGoneForGood. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next year.